Greetings and welcome to my new YouTube channel, Artful Badgering. I'm Sebastianne, and today I'm going to demonstrate all the different gold paints that I use or have used in the past. In the end, I'll tell you which one I like the most. So now let's meet the contenders. First up, we have a watercolor. This is the color Red Gold from Gensai Tambai. Next is another watercolor from Fintech in the color Aztec Gold. And the last watercolor I'll be using is a mystery brand that I got in a calligraphy kit. I'm also going to use a liquid gold leaf from the brand Brush and Leaf and some actual gold leaf from the brand Mona Lisa. First up, I'm going to use the mystery watercolor. It appears to be a bronze color. Before I paint with it, I'll need to reconstitute it. I always start by adding 5 drops of water and then taking a stiff, larger brush, I go back and forth and up and down across the watercolor until it's approximately the consistency of melted ice cream. This is especially important when you're using metallic colors because if you get them too thin, they will be transparent. Sometimes they end up being transparent in places anyway. And the way to avoid that is to paint a layer of color, usually yellow ochre if you're going to be using gold, underneath the metallic watercolor. I'm not going to do that in this test because I want to see how well these products perform without an underpainted layer. To keep this fair, I'm also going to draw some circles to paint in so they are all approximately the same size and shape when we do our comparison. Now let's see how this mystery paint performs. It's still a bit on the watery side, so I'm going to mix some more. There, that looks a little better. I can still see the metallic pigment swirling around. Honestly, I'm not too disappointed in this. While reconstituting it, it did have a brittle feeling, so I didn't think that it would go on very even, but it actually went on very easily and had a pretty high color saturation. I'm not loving this color, however. Let's see how the next contender does. This is the color Red Gold from Gensai Tambai. As I'm reconstituting this, I can already feel the difference. This is a lot creamier and easier to mix. Ooh, look at those pigments swirling around. Stir, 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 mix, mix, mix. Okay, now let's paint with it. Oh yes, now that is quite a lovely gold. Before I move on, let's label these little guys so I don't get them confused later on. Also, as a quick side note, you'll notice I keep a little glass water vial with a glass dropper in my Scribble kit. I put exclusively distilled water in this, and I use it only to reconstitute my paints. Next up we have Aztec Gold from Fintech. It's probably the brightest paint I've seen while it's dry and when it's just sitting in there in its little pot. I have to say that Fintech is probably my favorite paint to reconstitute because Fintech paints have little grooves on the top and it sort of produces a washboard-like effect. I'm not sure if that serves any purpose necessarily, but when you're stirring something for 50 more times, it's the simple things that tend to amuse you. You may have noticed that I've also sped this video up a little bit, otherwise you'd be sitting here watching me stir paint for quite a while. And that's only slightly more entertaining than watching paint dry. The Fintech is also going on very smooth, much like the other 2 watercolors. Let me scrape off the excess paint back into the container. It will eventually dry out and you can use it again later. Now we're going to take a break from all that mixing and use an ink. Yay, no more mixing. This ink is from Calligraphy Company and is in the color Old Gold. I decided to include this ink to show the difference, because you can also paint with inks. It goes on very smooth and is very shiny. However, it's requiring me to put on several layers rather thick because it's more watery than the watercolors. I can also see the spots where I predict it will be more transparent when it dries. Next up is Brush and Leaf Liquid Leaf. But I've got to go find a cheap and disposable paintbrush real quick to use with this stuff. Let me say several things about Liquid Leaf. Regardless of what brand you get, it will destroy whatever brush you put in it. Maybe if you had some sort of solvent, it would come off, but I prefer not to mess with things like that in my house. Second, this stuff has a very strong smell. I'd say it's probably best not to use this around children or pets or even other people that might have a sensitivity to strong smells. It smells kind of like gasoline or maybe a nail salon, so pop open a window at the very least if you're going to use it. The good thing about liquid leaf is that it goes on very quickly, very evenly, and it dries very quickly. Now I'm going to add 2 additional circles because we've got 2 more products that I would like to test. I'm going to use Deco Colors Liquid Gold next. This comes in a metal pen that you have to shake up. It smells and behaves exactly like the liquid leaf. The good thing about it coming in a pen form is that you don't have to sacrifice a paintbrush in order to use it. However, the drawback to the pen is that the nib is rather large and it makes it hard to paint fine details. This pen that I'm using is about dead. I've used it before and it's been opened for a little while. These things dry out quite quickly, so this product is not something that you're going to be able to use occasionally unless you want to buy a new one every time you want to use it. As you can see, the paint that's coming out of this, when I can get it to come out, it dries fast and looks like it's coming out both thin and gloppy at the same time, however that works. Finally, we've reached the last product, gold leaf. This is a thin sheet of metal which is laid on top of glue. In period, this would have likely been a resin or gum. I'm bravely going to move forward with this because I've not opened this bottle in several years, so I'm not even sure it's still good. It looks like it's got some gummy chunks on the top, but honestly what's inside the bottle still appears to be pretty good. This stuff smells and feels like a thick Elmer's glue. We just need to lay it down on the circle and then give it a little while to dry. I'm going to take this off camera and use a blow dryer to speed up the process. And I'm back, after about 5 minutes of blow drying. Time to lay on the gold. Instead of taking out a whole sheet from the pack, I'm going to instead cut off a little square piece from a gold sheet. These sheets of gold are very fragile, and once the gold comes off of the sheet, it's really not going to be very usable anymore because it'll likely crumple up and just blow away. So let's plop this down on top of our glue, get out a stiff brush, and pat around to get the thing to stick to the glue. This is called burnishing. And I can already tell that this is not going to work because that glue wasn't dry. Okay, time to give this some more time to come back and dry naturally. Remember, mistakes are our best teachers. And I'm back for round 2 with the gold leaf. It's been approximately 4 hours and the glue appears to be dry. I touched it slightly on the edge just to make sure, though I really didn't want to get the oils from my skin on the glue because I was afraid it might affect the way the gold leaf sticks to it. I've already cut out another little square, so let's just plop it on there and then use the brush to make sure it sticks. Just use the brush to pat and rub and press on the back of the gold leaf sheet until you feel like it's firmly stuck down. Then peel it off. You can then use the brush to gently remove any loose or excess gold leaf flakes. Okay, now I'm just going to clean this up a little bit more. There's lots of little gold flakes here that need to go away. And I'm going to open up my sealer and put a top coat on. You'll notice that as I'm painting the sealant on top of the gold leaf, you can kind of see a wetness around the circle that will dry and go away. So I just need to get this sealed and then clean up my workstation. Of course, I have to take a break to play with some of this excess gold leaf because it's shiny and I can't help myself apparently. So now I'm going to label the gold leaf and we're going to look at these and start our comparison. So let me cut this apart into a strip to make it easier for us to compare the colors. As I'm shifting it around so that the light will catch the pigments, I'm noticing that the gold leaf is clearly going to come in first. It's beautiful. Followed second by the Fintech Gold. It looks quite lovely as well. In third place, we have a tie between the Ganasai Tanbai and the Callian Company Ink. For fourth place, we have the Mystery Pigment and the Liquid Leaf. They actually look very similar. And coming in very last is the Deco Color Liquid Gold, because it looks like hot garbage. If it were a new pen, it would probably look a lot better, so it might be an unfair assessment. That's it. Thank you for watching. I'll be uploading future content, including sewing tutorials and Scrabble videos, so please subscribe and click on the notifications button if you'd like to be notified when future videos are uploaded. For more information, please visit my website, www.artfulbadgering.com. Have a great day.